is up, cupcakes? How we doing? Hold on. I'm trying to pull you guys up over here. There we go. Maybe it's going to be obnoxiously loud here really quick if I don't skip it. There we go. All right. And then let me figure out how to move this over here so I can see it. There we go. All right. What's happening, guys? What's up, Barndo boy? Chris, how's it going? It has been a long day. Hey, my honey. Just a long day, man. Good day in the shop, but long. I also, if you hear dogs barking, I have my brother's dogs right now. So there's 4 dogs here right now. And one of them never stops barking. Yeah, I hear that, Chris. I'm refilling my beer IV. But yeah, so basically I've been working on this guy back here. So this is the fruits of my labor for the charity build sign. That's where we are now. We're gonna dye it tomorrow, and then kind of put it together. So so yeah, so that's what I've been working on. I found out that, the restore can't get into some of the little crevices, so I had to go old school with some wire brushes and some old brushes I should use. And there's some areas I still can't get into, so I'm gonna need to head to Home Depot or something tomorrow and see if I can find. I used to have some more kind of nylon brushes that I could get into the nooks and crannies. I haven't had those. I think I threw them away when I moved because they were kind of gnarly anyway. So yeah. I'm gonna have to pick something up, man, because there's some little tiny spots. So tonight we have a guest. We have Jaime from Boondock Builds. Let me throw his information up down below. Be sure to go follow him, and I am gonna bring him in. Maybe. There he is.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Jaime? How's it going?
Doing good, man. What you?
I was just saying, man, I'm tired, man. I'm whooped.
I understand. Yeah. I just got the kids down, and I'm like, man, it's bedtime for me too, almost.
How old are yours?
I got a 1-year-old boy and a 7-year-old boy.
Oh, so mine are 8, almost 9, and they'll be up for another couple hours.
Gotcha.
What are you gonna do?
Right. Well, Mike from the Whacking Shack's pregnant, so congrats, Mike.
Oh, jeez. Right on. Yeah, you guys have fun with that. I'm done. We had twins, and it was one and done, and no more.
Oh wow. 2 boys, 2 girls.
One of each.
One of each. Nice.
So yeah, we were fortunate to have one of each, but we were a little older when we had them too. So, I don't need any more kids at this point.
My wife was in labor talking about the 3rd and 4th, and I'm like, no, we're done. We're done. I'm done.
That's crazy, man. I've known some people that they had a really, really hard pregnancy.
Right.
The woman did, obviously. And they're immediately talking about having another one. I'm like, I think you would not want to go through it again, but
Yeah, on the new baby, I was like, look, she was in pain in labor, and I'm like, you don't want to do this again, do you? She was like, I'll do it again.
sure. Crazy. I don't like that. Okay. So what have you been up to, man? So you just recently started your channel, right? Well, I just been
Yeah,
the last year.
it was probably about 10 months ago, so just shy of a year, I think. I think I started it in August last year.
All
And
right.
it's done pretty good so far, I think. So
Yeah, you definitely are doing something right. You already got people sending you stuff.
yeah, I've had quite a few. One of my favorites is the first one I did, and I used to race go-karts back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought them here when I had the shop built because I was trying to get my son into it, and I tore his down and rebuilt it. Mine's race ready, but never really got into it. But it was in the way all the time, and they give me a garage lift. I said, "Well, I'm going to put this go-kart on the garage lift," and so my go-kart's in the ceiling right now.
There you go. Nice. I need a garage lift here. I keep talking about I don't have any space, but I have a whole second kind of area up here. It's out of sight, out of mind. So when I put stuff up there, I'm like, I can't remember. Oh, we were looking for one of those old, those metal kind of dome shop lights that nobody uses anymore because everybody's got like LED lights.
Right.
We needed something like that when we got the chickens, when we got chicks. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, I don't know those forever, and I finally threw them away. And so we went out and bought another one, and sure as shit, I was up there rooting around the other day, and I didn't throw them away. They're still up there.
Those things get hot though.
Well, but the thing is, you want it like
For
the reason I
chickens,
got rid of them.
Yeah.
But for the chickens, you wanted something that they could withstand the heat and still, kind of put out heat.
Right.
I used to have, like, when I first started doing YouTube stuff, I had some old, like, well, I guess they were old. I bought them for it, but they were shop lights, those big lights. But man, those things would cook you so hot. Yeah, so like I think everything I have is LED now because I don't need that in my life.
Right. So I had this shop built. The shop was built last February. That was my birthday present to myself. And Harbor Freight, man, like $17. I caught them on sale for $17 a light. And I was like, man, you can't beat it. Because a lot of the other lights I've seen just like it are $80.
So I bought some, and just, I hit the old Amazon special and bought some like 8-foot LEDs for the ceilings. And in my old shop, I didn't have any problem with them. In this shop, I probably didn't even buy the same brand. My Pocket Osmo 3, it'll band like it. So you'll get the black bars running up and down, and you're supposed to be able to change the frequency, like from 50 to 60 or something or another, and it'll take care of it.
Right.
Doesn't do it. Doesn't do it. I can't shoot. Like unless I turn the overhead lights on and just have my camera lights on. I can't shoot with the Osmo in the shop because I get that that rolling black bar on there.
Right. Oh yeah, that's annoying.
So
go ahead. Go ahead.
So you said you're in between jobs. What is your day job normally?
So I've done construction my entire life. So my dad had a construction company, put me to work at 7 years old, every day after school, every day in the summertime. My childhood was a little miserable, but here I am. I just turned 30 and have a woodworking channel. So it's kind of catch-22, I guess. But I sprained my back real bad twice in a year's time, about 3 years ago. So I had to quit working for my dad's company. And I started doing sales for a corporate company. Made really good money there. But man, I've been working 70 to 80 hours a week. killer money, but you don't have a home life. And plus, I was doing that, trying to start a YouTube channel up, a couple other things going on. So it was something I had to give. And I feel like right now, is with everything I got going on personally, it's the job had to go. That, and they were holding commissions and they owed me a lot of money. And I was like, well, we're gonna talk about this. Yeah, we can't be having that. But I actually coach my oldest son's baseball team, and I'm one of the assistant coaches this year. And the head coach owns a construction business doing concrete, and he also has one building boat houses on the river down the road. So I'm going to start with him coming up on Monday. I was supposed to get another sales job. I was actually supposed to start on Thursday, but I was like, man, I just can't do sales right now. I'm really good at sales, but it's just something's telling me to go the other direction right now. So I'll go back to construction and hopefully I don't tear my back up.
Yeah, I've always been leery of sales because I am good at selling people things. Right. To a detriment somehow, or sometimes, where like maybe selling somebody something they don't really need. So I've always tried to, steer clear from like the hardcore sales jobs.
Right.
And then didn't you say that you volunteer firefight or something or another?
Yeah, I've been a volunteer fireman for the last 15 years. I just hit 15 years back in August of 2024.
Right on. So I think I asked you, have you heard of Fire and Iron Motorcycle Club?
I have. I've heard of the motorcycle club, but I haven't heard of the organization you're doing the charity benefit for. They're not really big around here, I guess.
So my understanding is, so it's put on by like the Safety Commission of Illinois. So I think it might be something specific there. But the organization's called Camp IME. I Am Me, and they do things for families that have been in fires, or mainly children, but they've been in fires or been burned by fire. The Fire and Iron Motorcycle Club Station 618 is who sent me the fundraiser letter asking for a donation, and I said, well, I'll do you one better. I'm like, I'll donate some money, but I'll also I'll build you guys something. And they're like, oh, that's awesome, because we're having this fundraiser, or we're having like an auction at the fundraiser, and everything goes, for the fundraiser. So that's where we are right now.
I saw your short today. I'm looking forward to seeing the end product on that one.
Yeah. So you guys saw it before I burned it. So I burned it and brushed it today. It's not looking too bad. You guys are actually see a little bit better over there, but it's going to. I'm about to just turn the shop lights on so you can see it. Computer, turn shop lights on. There you go.
I need one of those.
Yeah, right. Let me grab it. So basically,
my whole shop's run by a power drop cord right now.
So the build's going to go cut something like that with the. And now I realize that it's way too bright in here and you can't see it, but so that's all done on the AP laser, and I think it's gonna. I'm thinking about putting standoff behind it so it sticks out just a little bit, and then coming out from either side, there's going to be a pair of 3D printed hands that are holding a fire axe. So hopefully it goes for a lot of money.
I hope so. The flames of that on there really looks good, though.
Thank you.
Looks really good.
It was a chore today.
I haven't
I
seen
also,
any recent videos. How did you carve that out? Chainsaw or jigsaw or?
no, so I just rough the outside with a jigsaw, and then everything else is. I was telling my wife today. I went in basically with a router and cut all this out, but then when I got in there with my carving tools, I'm like, I could have carved this whole thing, just with my power carving stuff, because I didn't want anything like when I did the router. You had like uh, these real sharp lines on it, and I'm like, I want it to look more organic. So I ended up taking all the sharp lines out. I'm like, I might as well have just done all this with the angle grinders.
Right. Gotcha. I enjoy working with a router, man. That's one of my favorite tools. I did a video, it was about 2 weeks ago, called One Tool, Huge Profit. And I made a sign with numbers on it for a house. I pressure washed our house like 4 years ago, and the numbers cracked, and I never bought more to put on. And my wife's been telling me for 4 years that the Amazon driver keeps passing our house.
Yeah.
I finally made one. I found it. I got help with the guys at makeawoodsign.com. I reached out to them. He gave me a phone call, give me some cool tips on it, so and helped me out with it. So
That's cool. Yeah, I like the router. I also horrified of it.
I was horrified of it at first because I've heard so many people, oh, this is a really dangerous tool, really dangerous. I'm like, well, I feel like if you got some sense and you hold on to it, and just don't go crazy. And now I have had some kickback on. I won't lie, I've had some kickback. I've gone backwards by an accident a time or two, and that's when it gets a little sketchy. But
yeah, I still remember when I was younger, trying to. I was just routing edges, right? So I was doing, doing like a round over or whatever. But I had to keep looking up. I had to keep Googling which way to go, so you don't climb and lose control.
Right. So what got me started with it was last Halloween, I wanted to do the wooden jack-o'-lanterns. And I started out with a scroll saw to make a template. And let me tell you, that took me 2 hours to make. Well, first off, I wasn't using 1/4 inch wood. I was using 1/2 inch.
Like you do.
Like a 1x4 or a 1x8, I think it was. And man, dude, cut that out with a scroll saw took forever. And I was like, well, I've seen videos where you can get a straight bit and do these a lot faster in like 30 seconds. And I was hooked after I tried it out.
Yep. The funny thing is, I'm more at home with, or I feel more comfortable with an angle grinder, which is probably way more dangerous if you're not paying attention than a router.
Yeah.
So it's funny that I'm like, oh yeah, man, router's gonna freak me out, but give me a chainsaw, give me an angle grinder, no big deal.
Right.
Yeah, so Chris says the grain of the wood really works well with the flames. And I'm like, what I've started to find, I've started to see more is when I do these kind of projects is you really do have to pay a little bit more attention to the which way the grain is going, because it can really kind of make it can make an image look weird if it's going the wrong way.
Right.
So yeah, I do like the organic, looks like it's coming from the top to the bottom, or the bottom to the top.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Hey, there's 1/4 inch steel on the back of it, like 2 bars, because I was afraid it was going to warp. Didn't matter, still worked. Still, nice little cup. I got to figure that one out.
Did you buy the wood from Lowe's?
I did not. Actually, what I used was So that's not just pine. That's like antique pine. It's like really old. I bought it from a lumberyard in Houston. I've had it forever, and it's funny because it's I mean they're 8-inch planks or whatever, but they're like real wood size, so they're 8-inch by 1-inch. They're not they're not 7 3/4 by 3/4,
Right.
and they are at least twice, if not 3 times, as heavy as a plank of just white pine. I mean, they're heavy and they're old, and like you can kind of see it in like the way the grain patterns work. They're a lot tighter in places because it was like an actual tree that grew for a while. It wasn't just farmed for lumber.
Right. That's cool, man. I really like it. When are you? When's the deadline? When do you have to have it finished by?
I am driving to Illinois on Saturday.
Gotcha.
So, so we're hoping for no hiccups. That's the thing.
Right.
Although I have to say that, I was supposed to have jury duty today, and it, ended up not having to go. So I got a bonus day because I was really sweating this whole jury duty thing because it was going to give me a whole, it was going to kill a day.
Right.
And I've had jury duty more than I'd like to admit or ever go to again. But I've never had them do jury duty like they do it here. Got my jury summons and everything, and you go sign up online. And then yesterday at like noon, I got a text from them, and it was like, you don't have to show up for jury duty tomorrow. You're excused. And you get it's like time served. So like, I don't have to go to jury duty for another 3 years. I'm like, I didn't have to lift a finger. I didn't do anything. I love that.
Hey, you lucked out.
Yep. I am not complaining about that at all.
I can't blame you. I've enjoyed. So I took 2 weeks off after in between jobs. So I start Monday. So I'm a week and a half in. And I've been enjoying it. I've been in the shop every day, more than my wife probably wants me to be. And I've spit out like 3 or 4 videos in the last week and a half alone. So I'm right there with you. I've been enjoying it.
Rich is saying he used to do his graphics on a printer and then use an overhead projector. I never used an overhead projector, but what I would do is I would take my design, I would blow it up, and then I'd print it out on like 4 or 5 pieces of paper, and then I would take carbon paper and put it on whatever, and I would trace it out, and then I would carve it that way. Back in the day.
I've been doing that with a few projects, like the guitar bookshelves I made back here.
Mm-hmm.
I found my mom showed it to me because she does a lot of cutouts. She's done that for years. It was makeaposter.com or something like that. And you can take any image and put it on however many pieces of paper you need and just tape it together. And that's what I've been doing for all of my stuff.
Yeah, I think Photoshop or something had a similar thing where you could take an image and then just say how many pieces of paper across and, or how big you wanted it, and it would tell you how many pieces of paper across and down it would be.
Right.
And then, I would painfully tape all this together and sketch it out. And I don't have to do that anymore, so I'm happy. So how's the Montport treating you? So the reason Jamie and I originally met or hooked up was he was having some issues with the Montport that Montport sent him, and so he contacted me and we kind of shot a little bit. I don't know how much help I was, but you did get it up and running, right? So you buzzing along on that now?
I did. It was I don't know if I told you or not. I think I did. I texted to you the other day. But it was because you helped me get into the vendor settings.
So it was the water cooling thing.
Yeah, it's got a water coolant protection or something like that.
Right.
But you have to turn off. And then she told me today I need to go check the water in the machine.
So wait a second. You turn that off, but you got to make sure that you. Great.
I don't know.
Hey, everybody's doing their thing, man. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I released the video today of the mom pour. Other than that, I'll give you a shout out on that too, by the way. But other than that, I haven't had any issues. It's great. I was playing with it last night, finishing up. I tested a bunch of materials like leather. The leather turned out really good. I did a thing on acrylic and it shifted on me a little bit. I did a portrait of my family on a piece of clear acrylic. And it shifted on me, so I have a few lines in it, but it's not very clear unless you hold it up in the light. You can see a little better, but so I've got to play around with the power and the speed and stuff like that.
So how did it shift on you? I'm just curious.
What did you say?
How did it shift on you?
I don't know. It's in the video. I did a time lapse where it just kind of turned a slight bit during the printing, which was weird. It's on a sturdy counter, and
you think you think air assist was pushing it, or
that's the only thing I can think of, because I've had a few like slim pieces of craft wood that you get from Walmart do the same thing, where it's kind of twisted on me a time or two. So I've been painter's taping them down to the honeycomb for now.
Yeah, I was gonna say get some little flat magnets. That's what I use, and just flat magnets, or if it's something bigger, I use like those 1, 2, 3 blocks, just to keep stuff flat and not have it floating around on you.
Right. I'm definitely gonna do that. I've seen something that looks like a little tiny T, I don't know what it's made of, but I've seen other people do them where it sticks down into the honeycomb and you can put one of the legs in there. Yeah, and hold it down.
Yeah, you can find like files for that for your laser, and you can cut them out yourself.
Right. I do want to learn how to do the inlays. I think the inlay would be really cool to do. Learn how to do those. That is.
Rich actually has a really good video on kerf offset for doing that stuff, especially if you're doing it with acrylic. Cool. Louisiana hobby guy. He's in Rich. I don't know if that's Rich is the guy that I reached out when I didn't know.
Gotcha.
I don't know. So, but he's in chat right now. But he's got a really good video on explaining how kerf offset works, because basically with your laser, even though it's much smaller, you still have a kerf.
Right.
So if you want to do an inlay, or like acrylic's a good example because you don't have the give of wood. So if you like cut a circle and then and you know how like it'll kind of slide through where you cut it.
Yeah.
You can go in a light burn and you can do like your kerf offset. So you figure out what your kerf is and do the kerf offset, and then it'll just pop in there. And those things are so friction fit, you can't get them out. Well, I mean, you can get them out, but like you don't need to glue them or anything. You just pop them in.
Right. That's what I want to learn how to do, because I've seen like people make little small boxes. I don't really care to do that, because I mean, I'd rather work with a piece of walnut or something. But yeah, I got to find the right wood too. To like, what wood do I buy to make stuff like that or put print on?
To start or to sell? Because I started buying I was buying like 20 sheets of like, I think it's like 12 by 20 plywood off of Amazon, and that was on practice on. I think do I still have?
I've been using the
Rich is telling you what the is.
3-inch by 4-inch, 3-inch by 5-inch craft wood from Walmart or dollar stores is what I've been using. You can get a pack of them for like $2. So I was like, this will help me learn.
Oh yeah, especially that's like I said, I mean, I was just ordering it by the, ordering 20 things a time, because I would just sit there and, over and over and over. I'm trying to remember the name of this place now. It's Oak Cooch, I think. Hardwoods. I thought I had this linked already, but let me grab it real quick. But check out this place for thin wood to laser on. Like they have pretty much most woods that you would be looking for. They've got walnut, cherry. I think they've got even like the thin purple heart and just crazy stuff like that.
I'll write that down.
But I order from them because, well, one, they have, and they have like 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, like up to, I think it's up to 1/2 inch. It might be 3/4 of different pieces. But I like their cherry, and I can't find cherry anyplace else. Like in the in the big sheets, and it's hardwood. It's not. What I was originally using was like walnut plywood, so it's just it just had the walnut veneer and it was plywood. But they have sheets of walnut, so I like them.
I've seen the little mini. I think they're like 12-inch by 12-inch pieces of walnut on Amazon. I don't know if it's real walnut or not, but I thought about trying that. Just kind of give myself a little offset, or just to kind of fool around with it with the smaller pieces. Or I think they have a few pieces of maple and stuff on there too. But
there we go. I don't know what you said.
Are you still there?
Barndo, you just want to get your name up there. Yeah, we both hung up and like spun for a second.
Gotcha. Well, if it gets really loud, I'm sorry. I'm in a metal building, and it was monsooning before
really?
it started, so it chilled out, but it's coming back a little bit, I think. So
no worries. It's so funny. I was always worried about noise, like because I would hear it in the shop, and then when I was editing the video, I couldn't really hear it, but I would always say, hey, listen, like something's going on outside, and then people are like, we can't hear it. I'm like, no, it's so loud. So where are you going? Like, are you like what is your future game plan with the channel, sir? What do you want to do? I mean, just do you have?
That's a good question.
Crazy goals?
Well, I'd like to see how big I can make it. I've been starting to sell more of my stuff as well, so I'm enjoying getting into that. As far as the channel goes, I definitely would rather do the channel versus sell full time. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I've been a musician for 13 years professionally. So I've had my own band. We travel all around, do some cool stuff, and I haven't really been doing that a lot in the last year and a half or so, because since the baby's been born.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting back into it now, but wanted a little bit of time to get used to him and stuff, and get him going in the world. But so I don't know if this has maybe been fueling. My wife says this has been fueling my ego. I don't know what that means. But no, I really enjoy coming out here. I enjoy the process of the filming, and met a lot of really cool people. Like Mike Barndo's a cool kid, man. He's I think 13. Rhyme 7 Rockets. I made friends at the Bearded Viking. If it wasn't for you two, me and you wouldn't be sitting here talking right now. So
true.
I'd like to grow it as big as I can. I'd love to hit 100,000 for sure. Maybe quit my job and work for myself. That's my goal. I guess at the end of the day. Are you still there? Are you frozen? I think we lost
You there?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay. I mean, we both go out when that's what I see is we both go away. I just don't know why. Like I've been using StreamYard for a while and I've never had it cut out before. And it's done it like 2 or 3 times. Like something must be up.
I'm not having it. That was the first time I lost you. Mike says he does YouTube for fun. I do it for fun too. That's what I started out. I was like, man, if I can make a couple dollars to kind of fuel my hobby, that'd be great. And now I'm like, well, now I want to see how much I can make because I can't have a normal hobby. I've got to turn everything into a business. And that's my like red flag, I guess.
I just used to always build stuff for fun. I just really never thought. What I didn't realize is there's so many people out there that don't like have a toolbox or whatever, like I would do like we had a house where we had a patio and we wanted a little table to put out there. So I went and picked up some pallets and tore them apart and built a little pallet wood table out of that. And my friends were like fascinated that I could do that.
So what's funny is I used to, when I like I said, I worked for my dad since I was 7. And I used to hate going to work. I used to hate painting houses, hanging sheetrock, building stuff. We were kind of the jack of all trades. We did fire and water restoration for a while. So if a house burnt down or had water damage, we'd go ahead and gut the entire thing out and rebuild it. Then I helped him get it. The company last 4 or 5 years I was there. I helped him build it up to where we were strictly doing commercial for like Apple, Best Buy, Duke Energy, state employees credit unions, Krispy Kremes. We were all over the place. So, and I hated it when I worked for him. But now I'm like, yeah, I don't mind hanging some sheetrock. I enjoy hanging sheetrock. I know a lot of people hate sheetrock, but I enjoy building stuff. I don't even mind painting half the time. So, it's funny how I guess your mind kind of shifts, and now I find this therapeutic.
Well, that was kind of my thing. That's what I discovered because I was working in insurance. I worked in insurance for like 10 years, a little longer, and hated it. But the money was really good. And anytime I was like, okay, man, I gotta quit my job. It's just like, it just seemed like they just wrote me another check. It was stupid. And so I started having like kind of some really bad stomach issues and went and saw the doctors and everything. And everybody said, you're fine. Like nothing. I had a colonoscopy. I don't know if doctors were really supposed to say this to you, but he's like, you're clean as a whistle. And he's like, so the GI doc pulled me aside and he's like, there is one thing you're really not taking into consideration. It may just be stress. And I'm like, I just kind of started YouTube probably about a year before that, maybe 2. And what I noticed is just whenever I was stressed out, like going out in the shop was like just my therapy. It was my domain. I controlled everything. Like, it was it just felt better. And so I'd always wanted to quit my job eventually and do YouTube full time. I just decided to do a little earlier than I probably should have. But I tell you what, the day I quit my job, that gut pain went away. And I've never been in a position where I've made such a huge life decision and was 100% sure I did the right thing, except for that one, because I felt so much better.
Yeah.
The next week or 2, it was just unbelievable how like everything just felt better. And I was like, yep, did the right thing. Now I just need to make some money with it.
No, absolutely. I know how you feel, man. So I've the last month and a half, 2 months, I call it the month from hell. So I just turned 30 and I don't want to put too much of my business out there, but the last few years, I've had primary custody of my oldest son for the last 3 years. So he lives with me. His mom lives about 2.5, 3 hours away. And we've been going for custody for, again, something came up to where I felt, you know, we need to work some more stuff out. I'm going to put it that way. And had that going on for last year. And we had court about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I'll say. We had court on Tuesday and Wednesday. That Friday, I was at a friend's house, helping him load some windows up for his house. And we took him to his house. And I called my wife on the way there. I was like, man, I'm getting this pain in my chest, which I've had issues with, like acid reflux and stuff for the last year and a half, like really bad chest pains every day. But they kind of come and go. And I was like, look, I can't breathe, you know. So my buddy ended up, we get to his house, unloading the windows, and I'm doubled over in my chest. Can't breathe. You know, I've been a fireman. I was having every symptom of a heart attack. So he called for me. EMS got there, checked me out. They're like, no, man, you're good. Your blood pressure's up and your heart rate's a little fast, but, you know. So I got my buddy to drive me to the hospital because I didn't want to pay for that ambulance ride.
Right.
And that was on a Friday. They said I was good to go. Like, they did all the tests, blood work, did a CAT scan, everything was good to go. So I went back home. I'm like, all right. My mother-in-law was one of the cardiac nurses at the hospital. Well, Sunday I was meeting at the halfway point to pick my son up from his mom's. He goes there on the weekends. And we were about 20 minutes from the house. And I told my wife, I was like, I got to pull over. I'm getting this tingling in the side of my face. And, man, I thought I was having a stroke. My whole body, I got to a gas station and asked them to call 911. When I got in the ambulance, my whole body shut down. Like, my hands, like, I couldn't open my hands. I had to force them open. My jaw was, like, tingling, clenched shut. I had to force it open. And it was scary. And I looked over and I'm like, where's my kid at? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, well, the only thing I can think of is I was saying I need some water. And I think he went to my truck to try to grab my water. But he ended up, he's like, we'll find him in a minute. I'm like, no, he's 7. We're in a parking lot. We need to find him right now.
Hey, find him now.
It's not helping my heart rate. That's at 180 beats a minute. So,
oof.
Yeah, they ended up doing a procedure. They took me to the hospital. It happened a second time where my body shut down.
Oof.
Ended up doing a procedure on me. Thank God everything can get fixed with medicine. So, but the bad thing is I was in the hospital for 4 days. The day I got there and the doctors got me stabilized, my dad went to the gas station to pick my truck up, and the transmission went out 2 miles down the road and had to tow it to my house.
No.
Yeah. And then, so I ended up having to buy a new car, which is nice. I've got a brand new car. I've never had a brand spanking new car before, so that was nice. But need another truck because I've been having to borrow my neighbors or my father-in-law's to go get wood from the Lowe's. But and then the stress of work on top of all that just had me going, and I was like, something's got to give. And so the day I quit, man, like I said, it was like a big weight off my shoulders, and I've been happy the last week and a half to just relax, really.
It's crazy how that could do that. So just kind of off topic, but Chris says he has to overprice stuff to stop it from turning into a business because he's retired and plans to stay that way. And then, so Rich, I don't remember which guy Don, but I totally believe that. I mean, seriously, like I worked a job for 10 years that I fucking hated, you know? I mean, I despised everything about that job. I like working in insurance is it's so hard because it's, you know, they're like, well, make sure that the customer feels like you're taking care of them, but they're like, make sure you screw them on the back end. You know, I mean, it's very much and they don't say that part out loud, but that's kind of like, you know, hey, well, we also don't want to pay any more than we have to. So you're kind of stuck in the middle. You're trying to like help somebody out, but at the same point in time, you're trying to hit your numbers to, get your own raise. So yeah, and
Right.
yeah. So yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna say where I work, but let's just say I sold people $20,000 showers. Let's
All right.
And I can probably go get the same thing from Lowe's for not even half that price.
Yeah. So recently we had, well, I say recently, I guess recently we had, or I went to turn the sprinklers on because it's getting warmer out. And so I turned the water out onto the outside of the house and I walked around and checked the sprinklers and everything to make sure I didn't have a busted head or anything like that. And everything seemed fine. Came back in the shop, was working. I went in the house to do something and I turned on the sink and the water's just like trickling out. And I'm like, that's weird. So I start wandering the property and it's a storm drain. There's just water pouring out of it. And so a couple months before that, Google Fiber had come into the neighborhood to lay Google Fiber. And when they did, we have AT&T fiber. They cut all the AT&T fiber lines. So AT&T came out, replaced the line. And then the guys that buried it cut right through my sprinkler system and through like one of those drainage pipes. So the leak was under the ground. And what it was doing is it was just kind of taking the path of least resistance, finding that drainage pipe and then coming out that. So the sprinkler guys repaired all that stuff, but they couldn't do the drainage pipe. So I had a plumber come out and he's like, I could do this. He's like, it'll cost you about $1,000. He's like, here's what you do. He's like, go buy like, or go cut like a 2-foot, piece of a PVC, kind of channel out of the middle of it, pop it over where it's broken and put a couple screws in it and you're fine. It's like a drainage. It's a drainage for a French drain. So it's not like a sewer pipe or anything like that.
Right.
And I was like, man, I love it when people are like, let me be honest with you. You could pay this for this or.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, tell me how to fix it, and I will try at least. At least let me help you.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I've had several people come out, and because a lot of times, if somebody comes out to work on the house, I'm working, so a lot of times I'll leave like the garage door open so they can see me in the shop if they need me. And I'll be like, hey, if you need me, just over there, and they'll come in and they see the tools and stuff like that, and they're like, I can do this, but you can probably do this too. I'm like, okay, well, I'll do it. I'll do it, damn it, because that's what I do. And then sometimes I'm like, just do it because I'm too damn busy.
Right. So are you more into woodworking side of things or lasers? I feel like I know the answer, but just being curious.
So my whole channel started out as woodworking and torches and power carving and stuff like that. What I was trying, where I first ran into or started with lasers, I guess, was I was trying to teach my viewers like how to maximize profit if they're selling something. So if I make this really cool cutting board, I can sell it for $80. If I can personalize that cutting board, I can sell that same cutting board for $120, right? So I was trying to figure out a way to come up with a surefire way to show people how they hey man, maybe you just have this one other tool, but this one tool will pay for itself just personalizing things. And the first thing I looked into is CNC. I got a little Prover 3018 or whatever, and that thing was trash. And then I got a bigger X-Carve, I think. The problem was it's loud. And I'm like trying to film in the shop, and I'm like, doing all that stuff. And about that time, Ortur reached out to me with their Laser Master 2 Pro or whatever it was. It was big shit back then. And I'd never used a laser before. So I was like, sure, send it to me. I don't know what I'm doing. And they sent me one, and I was just fascinated, dude. I always say that I'm very much not a fine woodworker. I'm a very, very much a blunt object. I like power carvers and chainsaws and routers and stuff like that. I'm not making hand cut dovetails, but having a laser in the shop adds that like fine detailed work that I'm not good at. And so that's kind of where it started. And I just went overboard with lasers, which is my own damn fault. So now I'm trying to get a little bit more back to this kind of stuff, but I want to, I want to put the, I still want to use the laser. Like it's a great tool. I love it. I don't want to get rid of it, but so I can do something, like this, which is my very blunt part of me, but then I can also take, something very, very fine detail that I had the laser do for me, and I could put these together and I can make a thing.
Oh yeah.
So
sure.
Kind of a blend, I guess I would say. Although I have to say, this stupid UV printer.
I like that thing, man. I want to get one of those.
I wasn't going to get it.
I've been really enjoying your videos on that thing.
No, I do it. I love it. I love it. It is fascinating to me. It kind of reminds me of the first time I got a laser. Like, it's just so different. It's something that just does something that I'm just unfamiliar with up until then. And the thing was, I was like, it was right. Like, I got contacted about that printer right about the time that I was getting ready to do the channel relaunch, where I was like, I'm going back to my roots. And I was like, okay, I'm just not going to get it. Like, it's something else. I shouldn't have to, it's something I shouldn't put in the shop right now. It's just not good for the channel. And I was like, man, I kind of want it. And I gave them not an astronomical number, but like a lot of times when somebody comes to me with a product and I'm like unsure, I give them my FU number, my high number. I'm like, well, I'll do it for this. And they were like, sold. And I was like, yeah. So now not only they offer me more money, so I ended up doing a poll. I did a poll to like my YouTube subscribers and my Instagram subscribers, and it was like 95%. Yeah, you should get it. So I got it, and I'm like, I'm really glad that they kind of talked me into it, because it is a really cool thing.
So this wasn't a sponsorship then.
So what?
So that wasn't a sponsorship then.
What wasn't a sponsorship?
The UV printer.
No, it was a sponsorship. They paid me to.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
No, I like I said. So like if you come to me with something and I'm fairly interested in it, and you're like, hey, do you want to make a video on it? The number that I'm going to quote you to make a video is going to be lower, because I'm interested in it. I could use the shop, blah blah blah. If I'm really on the fence, or if you just keep pestering me, then I'll give you a really high number. And then if they say yes, then I guess I'm still making the video. But, most of the time it's like, I call it my FU number, because most of the time I give them that number and they're like, okay, well, sorry.
Right.
It cracks me up, because it's like, you get companies that are like, hey, we've already been funded for like $85 million on Kickstarter. And you're like, okay, here's my number. And they're like, we can't afford that. And I'm like, well, then maybe you shouldn't boast about all the money you just made on Kickstarter.
I haven't got any of those yet. I've gotten a few. I've got safety glasses that pay me pretty good. The garage lift paid me pretty good. I didn't get any for the mom port, unfortunately. But I was like, hey, this is a really nice laser. I want to do it anyways. Just because I really want the laser.
See, that's the thing too. You know, I mean, sometimes 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 I don't do it for, nearly as much because I want the thing.
Right. I've had a few to reach out to me, and I don't really necessarily even throw. I've had two that I didn't even throw a number. I just flat out said no thanks. I'm not interested.
I get it. You'll start getting just ridiculous. Like I get stuff all the time. I think we were talking about it the other day. Like I'll get stuff that's like, and it's always a form letter, but it says like we've watched your channel, we think it's really creative and blah 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 and all this stuff, and we're like, we're launching a line of clothes for dogs.
Oh yeah. Tell me about
At what point in time do you think I'm gonna how am I working that into a woodworking video or a laser video? Okay.
There was
and you'll get a ton of them.
Yeah, there was one I got. It was one of those ceiling fan screw-in light bulb things. It's like a mini ceiling fan, but they wanted it back after I had to hardwire it. Excuse me, it was you had to hardwire it into your light fixture socket. So you had to take the fixture down, hardwire it in, put it up, film it, and then they wanted me to take the shit down and send it back. I said, "You got to be kidding me."
When I think the channel's about a year or two old, and somebody contacted me and wanted to send me these. They're like adhesive fake wood panels for your wall, like strips, and they looked really cool. Like I wanted to check them out, but I was like, all right, well, here's the deal. They're like, I said, yeah, I think I'm interested. So I found the biggest wall in the house, and I sent it to them, and I was like, you guys are gonna they were gonna have to send me like 10 boxes of these things or whatever, and they sent them. I was like, okay. So I did the video, and actually they were pretty cool. Like they stuck up just like you wanted. The entire time I lived there, never had a problem with them, never even pulled down. About 2 weeks after I put that video out, they were no longer available. They came from Amazon, and they're no longer available on Amazon. I'm like,
oh wow.
So you guys just sent me like all of your products or something? I don't know.
All of your discontinued stuff.
Yeah. See, Rich is talking about it too. I get that all the time. Cosmetics, jewelry, all sorts of, and I think they have to just blast it out to everybody. But it's funny because they try to personalize the email. And what cracks me up even more is when they'll mess up and it'll be like, dear, and then in parentheses it'll say YouTube channel's name here or something. And I'm like, okay, good work.
Let's see. I got one today. It said, this guy runs a media company and wants to edit my videos into shorts. And just being curious, I'm not doing that by no means. I can handle it myself. But I was just like, let me read the emails, the Gmail email. And then he sent like 20 other emails are in this list that he just sent it out to.
Yeah. Spam it out. Yeah, I get those. I get those all the time too. Those are, maybe they're legit, but the thing is, I know some people don't like editing their videos, but I went to school for film production, so I like editing my videos. Like if I had to give something up, I would rather not be on camera. I'd rather be in the back room editing video. So when they're like, "Hey, I want to take something off your plate," I'm like, no, not happening. Boondock Boy wants to know what our most favorite video we have made so far is. You have to think about that.
I'll answer that one for me. My favorite one so far, and this is probably crazy, but I made one about a month or so ago that said woodworking projects at Rock. And that was a bunch of stuff with my music career where I've opened up for celebrities and a bunch of big shows. You know, I kind of put some snapshots in there of that. And I made this out of a 2x6. And I love this thing. I feel like I'm gonna try to make some more of these and start selling them. They weren't that hard to make. Yeah, it's a bookend. There's a dad jokes book in the middle of it. This is I stained it, spray painted the edges, and then the rest of it's wood.
Looks good, man. That was I was looking at kind of the edge of this when I was carving it, and this just so reminds me of like some of those remember like the 80s rock and roll guitars were like all flames and stuff, like they just had all those wings and stuff. I was like, this kind of looks like guitar inside, man. Love it. I would say so. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I have a country band, but I was a really big Motley Crue fan, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
There you go. I would say I gotta go two favorite builds two favorite videos because of totally different reasons. One was I got to give my X-Tool X2 something P2 I think to a disabled vet who I think we were just in I think we were just in a Facebook group or something, but he lived near me and he had I think he had an X-Tool D1, like just the basic one, and he'd used it so much that it just was dying on him. And so I was like, you know what? I tell you what, I'm moving. I don't want to take all this stuff with me. I was like really kind of whittling down my tool inventory, and that P2 I'd used maybe 5 times, and it was all for the video, so it was pretty much brand spanking new. And so I contacted him. I jumped the car, drove it up there, and gave it to him. And man, that was just like, I like that kind of stuff, like the charity stuff, like that makes me like feel good, you know. So I was like, that was a really cool thing. I get to meet him. His name's Mickey, cool guy, and he just, he's like I said, he's retired vet, and he just mainly he just makes stuff. I mean, he makes stuff for everybody, but he makes stuff for his kids and stuff like that. It was just that was like a very feel good thing. And X-Tool was kind of pissing me off at the time, so it's kind of nice to give one of the lasers. I would say my favorite video that I've made, or actually my favorite project, would probably be it was an inlay that I did on a table that's I think it's Purple Heart, cherry, and walnut, and then I laser engraved like a dragon design into it, and then I lasered out, I guess, and then put like the dragon design in the middle.
I think I watched that the other day.
That was the funny thing is, man, that was like probably I was really proud of that project, and it just did okay. Like I really thought like the visual of that thing, and so I actually ended up making 2 videos on it, because I made a video on how to do the inlay in the top, and then the other video was that table. It was the top of a table, but that table slides out on drawer slides, and you can put stuff inside it, and it slides shut. And I just really thought that was cool, and I thought the thumbnail was cool, all this stuff, and it just it did okay.
I hate that, man. So it feels like every time I'm like, oh, this is the video that's gonna take me there. It always gets less than all my other, even a bad video. I'm like, it seems like it gets less views than that. And then the ones that I'm like, oh man, I kind of rushed this, and I feel like I don't know if I should put this out there. But I'm trying to get something out this week. Those are the ones that seem to do pretty well.
I I still, it still amazes me. So the first video that I did that really took off on the channel was a like kind of how to Shishugibon video, and I think it's got several million views now, but it is still like when I look at my analytics, it's still one of my top performing videos every week. It's just the weirdest thing. I'm like, it's always like it's I made it in 2019. I just checked, and it's still up there.
Right.
And it's just like I've tried to recreate that video. It just, with like more information and the things I've learned, and it just does not, something about that video people really like. The subsequent ones have done well, but nothing like that.
Right. So I'm still new to the game. I haven't got millions of views yet. But
excuse me. Sorry.
You're fine. The best one I did was I put it out about at least 3 months ago. It was when I made some wood and salt and pepper shakers. That video at least got, I think it's up to 35,000 now or something, but it took off for a little while, and it's still, like you said, 3 months later, one of my top, at least my top 3 videos every week. I think I got 600 views in 2 days last week, or the other day when I looked at it. So, which is great. Keep watching. So,
Chris, is my favorite old one. It was an old one where you should have stained wood with color, and that's kind of what put me on the map, right? Is like I started doing like some Shishugibon stuff, but the big thing that kind of really took off was using different colors and stuff like that. But again, I've dyed wood with, I don't know, I can't tell you how many different dyes, stains, stuff like that. The video that gets everybody's attention all the time is I dyed wood with Kool-Aid, and people just went apeshit about that. And I'm like, out of all the things that I'm showing you that you could dye wood with, the last thing I would recommend is Kool-Aid.
But I didn't get a brainer too that it could dye wood.
Yeah, well, it's. The thing is, like, it really took off on TikTok, and people were just like, "I can't imagine what that's doing to your insides." And I'm like, are you saying that while you're wolfing down a Big Mac too, or? Yeah. So, like, but that's the kind of stuff. The funny thing is, those are the easiest videos to make, man, because I just like. It's a process. It's like, okay, you burn the wood, you brush the wood, and then you dye the wood, and then I show you the results. Those don't take any time to make, and people will go crazy for them. I'm like, but then I'll show you like an in-depth process, and they're like, screw this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I was telling you, I routed out a wooden sign the other week. I thought that was going to do really good, and it did okay. And it had a lot of likes, a lot of comments. Just the views weren't there. This weekend, for example, I put one. I did a challenge against my friends over at Fish Over Chicks, where we did a plywood build off. And I mean, we have people commenting left and right on it, liking the video, but the views are stuck on the low end. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong here?
I still I don't know if it's bots or whatever, because basically I wanted to get away from saying, hey, I'm going to put out a new video every Tuesday, because what I would like is to make sure the video and the project is done right and then put it out. So if it's going to take me 2 weeks to do a project, it's going to take me 2 weeks to do a project. Right. But I started doing shorts every day, just and some of them were just like, hey, what's going on, this is what I'm doing today. What I don't understand is like, I'll put a short up and it's always a dumb one, and it'll start blowing up, like, just it immediately has 1,000 views, then it has 2,000 views, then it has 3,000 views, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Right. And then I'll come back and check it later, and it's got 12, it has 1,000 views again. So I'm like, I don't know if it's getting blown up by bots or something, and they're coming back after the fact. Because normally numbers are just supposed to go up. They don't go back down. Anyway, Clack says all his videos suck, but he has fun.
That's what matters, man.
That's right. Clack, that's the shop's getting crazy. It's looking good. I don't want to try to look this up right now, but I saw this guy today on TikTok, and if I can find his name real quick, I think I just followed him. How do I see that? Anyway, this guy makes so another one of my big videos is I did a wavy carved burnt American flag. This guy takes kind of the same concept. So basically I stacked 2x4s and then I carved it into the wave and I lit it up and whatnot. But what he does is he takes each one of those pieces, so each stripe of the flag, let's say, takes it out, 3D. And when I say 3D carve, I'm pretty sure he's doing this by hand or with power tools. I don't mean like with a CNC or anything, but he carves like 3D into it, so it has like these like kind of holes and wormholes, and then when it comes out on the end, like it's not a flat piece. It's 2 or 3 little pieces that come out, and they're all carved, and then he just stacks those one on top of another. And it's like the channel's like Feral Farms or something, I want to say. I'm dumbfounded, dude. I have to go watch all this guy's videos now because I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't even understand how you're doing this. Let's see. It's gotta be Feral Farms.
I want to write that down because I want to check that out. It says Feral Farms.
Well, I'm hoping. I'm trying to see if I can find it right now. Don't quote me on that yet. When I find them, I will. I'll let you know. I don't want to look for it right now because I will wormhole. But just amazing. I wish actually, if I hadn't been so busy today, I probably would have grabbed a screenshot or something so I could have just flashed it up here because just amazing work. Everybody keep an eye out. I will. I don't know. I'll send it someplace. You guys will see it. I do want to say, so like I said earlier, this project is going to be done hopefully by Saturday because I have to drive to Illinois. So the thing was, like, I told him I'd make him the sign or piece, I guess. And then I was looking at it. I'm like, man, to ship this thing is going to be ridiculous. And it's kind of near, I think it's kind of near Chicago in Illinois. Anyway, it's only like 5 hours away. So I'm going to drive there. And I really want to drive there because I want to get like some footage of it in the auction. Hopefully going for a lot of money, but I feel like it'll make for a better video if I can, like have it up and being in the auction and whatnot. But so that's kind of the reason this particular video is going to take a little longer. I'm actually going to start probably another project in the next couple of days that'll may or may not come out before that. But what you guys will see is the fundraiser for Camp IME is it'll be in the video, but they're taking donations up until the fundraiser. If you guys want to donate, I would super appreciate it. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. I think they're only trying to raise like $5,000. So like if people are donating $25, probably fine. But you can Venmo donations to that's the MC right there, Fire and Iron Station 618. Make sure you put a little note in there that Build sent you so I can give them shit. And if you guys send me if you send me something showing that you did donate and you you want me to, like, I could shout you out in that video. I'm just trying to make a little money while I'm trying to make a little bit more money. But that's my plug for today, guys. Why can't just wanted to go across the bottom of the screen. All right. Sorry. That's that's my PSA. What's up, Jim? I'm sorry, I was taking a drink while I said it. Edutech. What's up, Jim? How you doing, brother? Always a pleasure to see you. How's have you put your video out yet? I haven't I have not. I've been ill communicato on the internet for some time. As far as like YouTube. So Jim Edutech, he got one of the UV printers as well. So we've been talking back and forth about, like, hey, did yours do this? Did you get this? Blah blah blah.
Right. No worries, man. So I got a question for you, and I know we can go down a deep rabbit hole talking about this. Is there a tool you don't have that you like? Does anything stick out that you don't have that you really wish you did?
So no. I mean, without getting into like kind of a whole nother thing that I don't do right now, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. The first thing that comes to mind is I would love to have a plasma table, but I don't do metal work. I don't know how to weld or anything like that. Like, I just think a plasma table would be cool. So if I got a plasma table, then I would feel like I'd have to learn how to weld, and that would be a whole other thing. Aside from that, something that I always like, it's one of those I would love to have, but I kind of don't want it because I don't think I would understand it, is a 4-axis CNC. And that's only because of my buddy Titty Nick, who does these crazy things with the CNC. You guys have all seen this before, but like this hammer, that's all done on a CNC. So it looks like a lathe, and then it's got like the CNC deals come down and carve on it. When I met old Titty, we were at WorkbenchCon together, and we were sitting there shooting shit. And I said, so what do you do? And he may or may not have had something to drink. And he just looked at me and goes, I can put tits on anything. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, what? And he starts showing me his Instagram, and he has he has a CNC. It does it like he's got all this metal work that he's done with it. He does the handle for like a saw stop table saw that stops the fence. He's got those, and it's just covered in boobs. And I'm like, he literally puts tits on anything. It is just, it's a riot. I still have them. So I needed a whiskey smoker. I asked him to make me one, and there it is.
Oh, that's funny.
Even got a baby on top. But yeah, but he does. Okay, so he does do that, but like his other work is just crazy. He actually, the funny thing is, he sent me this. I ordered a hammer from him for my brother, and he just sent me this one because it's got a big crack in it. And he's like, do whatever with it. He's like, I messed this one up, and I'm like, I'm gonna hang it on my wall. It looks awesome.
It does look really cool.
But yeah, Nick Birchall. Anyway, if I had his stuff, I would throw it up there. Talk to who? Talk to Jack in the Shop. CNC and Plaza. I see. Okay, so I got rid of my CNC first of all. It just takes up space, man. Like if I had a bigger shop, I know people were like, "Yeah, you got a pretty big shop," but really, I mean, I parked 2 cars in here too, so like I have to be able to I have space when I need to work, but I pull the cars in when everything's done. And like a CNC, I would love to have 4x8 CNC in here, but it would take up a whole bay of the garage. So I'm sorry. So Jamie, what about you though? What's your tool that you don't have?
Well, I do want a saw stop. I'm using a cheap job site saw right now, but
Me too.
CNC would be really cool to have. That's what I originally wanted that before the laser, but I'm definitely happy with the laser. Not complaining there. Because stuff like that, I can put tits on anything. It'd be really cool to have. I've seen a lot of cool designs with those things, and want to check that out. But I've made a lot of friends, especially through YouTube with the YouTube stuff, with the lathes. I really want to try the lathe out. The problem with lathes is they can hurt you really bad, from what I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah, and unless you go like tabletop or something, again, that's it takes up room. You have to have space for it.
Right. I've got everything in place right now, but a planer, a joiner, and I'm it's kind of sitting in the middle of the floor right now. I'm like, where am I going to put this thing? Because everything's taking up a wall space except for that one corner, and that's my wife's corner where she puts her gym stuff. So I'm not going to mess with that corner.
Be messing with that, man.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read something. Yeah, I just space is always the thing for me because I also haul around a bunch of lights and camera equipment. So as much as you don't see those in videos very much, they're very much taking up room.
Right.
So I try to keep it skinny where I can. And the nice thing about this UV printer is that it's not going to stay in the shop because it doesn't make dust. I could turn it on. I can walk away from it. So I don't have to worry about it burning the house down. Right. So it can go upstairs, it can go down the craft room or it can go up my office and I could still use it without it taking up space. Because that's the thing with all the laser reviews too, right? Once I do that, I gotta store it someplace, and I just don't have places to put it.
Yeah, the laser I got was much bigger than I thought it'd be, and I'm glad I've got the countertop space for it, but quickly running out of room.
So the AP laser they sent me is, it's huge anyway, but they didn't send me the biggest one. And Tom, the owner of the company, is like, you need to have the biggest one. And I'm like, man, if you're using it for commercial purposes, yeah, you probably need a laser that big. But I'm like, that's not really my audience either. So I'm like, hey, look at this, giant piece of machinery. And so then I find out now they've made a larger one that's, I think it's 30 by 62 or something.
Oh wow.
So it's got to be the size of a small car. They're like, hey, maybe we can get that in your shop. I'm like, where are you gonna put it? How dare you?
Yeah, they don't think about those things. They're like, here, you want it? And yeah, I do, but
I'm sorry. What did you say, Chris? When you move the UV upstairs, I can see someone taking it over and having to put time to use it. Yeah, that's probably right. And my wife, she didn't care about that stuff. She'll just tell me to do it.
Hey, Nick, if you can talk to them for a minute or plug your fundraiser again, I'm going to be right back.
No, sure.
All right.
Absolutely. Fundraisers right here, guys. Now, I just, like I said, if you guys can donate a couple of bucks, that would be great. I don't expect you guys to, like throw down massive amounts of money to them, but it would be appreciated. Yeah, Brett is absolutely correct. Bigger is not always better. I do like having the one big machine, but I have had other companies offer to send me like a large machine, and I'm like, I don't want it. Like I don't, for what I'm doing. If I was full production all the time, it would, it might benefit me to have like two big machines in the shop. But so far, the one big machine does it all, or it does enough for me, I guess. Well, that's what I tell mine too.
Sorry about that.
No problem. All right. So Jamie, where does Boondocks come from? I'm just curious where you came up with your name for your shop or for your channel.
That was a question I have for you too. I was originally going to call it 2-Lane Tools. And I was like, well, that kind of sounds like a motorcycle company, like a motorcycle mechanic company. So I decided against it, and I was going through names, and Boondock kind of stood out to me. I was just going through names. I found a business name generator online, and that was, it didn't have Boondock Builds. It had something similar to Boondock Builds, and I was like, hey, here we go. I ran it by my wife, and she's like, yeah, it sounds good. So
there it is.
Yeah, I wanted something kind of beachy but southern as well, so I don't know.
I was curious because like growing up in Missouri, the Boondocks was always like kind of like out the country, but I know that the term Boondocks like kind of is also regional in what it means. So I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, I am out in the sticks. Well, I'm from out in the sticks. I live in Greenville, North Carolina. We're about 10 minutes from East Carolina University now. But I still wanted something beachy. I'm really enjoyed the beach. Trying to move there one day. Got a lot of friends out there in the Outer Banks. So I don't know. I just wanted something beachy but country. I don't know.
I dig it. I was just curious. No, so Build That Build comes from.
There was something called boondocking, which is something to do with campers.
Oh,
I had no idea until I started this channel, and I tried to Google myself for something.
Is this something that we do not want to Google? I'm assuming
it comes up on YouTube. I guess it's not that bad. I haven't watched any of those videos.
Boondocking. All right, I have to check it out. Now I'm curious. Now, so Build That Build comes from, well, so I had, let's see, so convoluted. I started a YouTube channel when I found out that I was having twins because, a long story short, my wife and I tried to have kids for a very long time. We went and saw all the doctors. All the doctors said, you guys are fine. We don't know why you can't have kids. We kind of decided that we weren't going to have kids. And then all of a sudden she got pregnant. Oh. So I was 40 something with babies on the way when all of my friends' kids are graduating college, or high school at least. So I started a YouTube channel called Holy Shit, It's Twins. And it was supposed to be like this funny dad channel. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how YouTube worked. I didn't really know even what I was trying to do, other than I just thought I really kind of thought I would turn the camera on, be funny, and people would like watch it. And they did not at all. It was horrible. Don't Google it. Actually, I don't think the channel exists anymore. I think it took it down. So from there, I started. Well, so we moved. My wife wanted me to build her something. I had been filming stuff anyway, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna, I'll film this, put it up on YouTube. And that's when it clicked that like how to film a video for YouTube. And that's why DIY made so much sense, is because it's a very, like, it has a structure, right? Like, I need to build this thing. This is how I build it. Finished product. Whereas like when I was trying to like do this like weird dad joke channel or whatever, I had no idea where I was going to start, begin, or end. Anyway, so originally the channel was called Build It, Burn It. And I just remember talking to a buddy of mine, and I was like, I don't want to pigeonhole myself as the guy that burns stuff on the internet. And he said, and I was considering other names at the time. And his response to me is like, there are worse things than being known as the guy who burns stuff on the internet. And I'm like, yeah, but he's right.
Right.
But I had, so I had moved my holy shit, it's twins situation to Instagram, and started doing kind of Instagram-y stuff. And the account over there was called Run, Dad, Drink, because those are the three things you need to do if you have kids. Like, you got to stay in shape, you got a dad, and then you got to have some cocktails or you go crazy. And so that became, or that's where Build Dad Build came from, because I didn't want to have a channel that was called Build Dad Drink. So it was like Build Dad Build, like go dad go.
Gotcha. Nice. So my channel wasn't really meant to be necessarily woodworking or small and sale that it's become. I originally wanted to, like you said earlier, people don't own a toolbox, and it amazes me too how many people don't know how to do, simple things, because I grew up in it. So I was gonna like stage a little piece of sheetrock, and this is how you mud it, this is how you sand it, and here's how to paint, hold a paintbrush. One thing, oh my God, man, doing construction for so long and being in a management role or a part owner role or whatever you want to call it, it amazes me how many people don't know how to use a damn hammer, how to hold a hammer. So I was, as dumb as it may sound, I could put out a video on how to hold a hammer and use it. When I started my job, the one I just left 2 years ago, they flew us out to Dallas for training. And we had a whole 2-3 hour class on how to use a tape measure. And my God, man, I was laughing. Then they sent us out on our lunch break, and we had to go buy tape measures. Well, they didn't tell us to bring one. I have 50 at the house here. And everybody went to Home Depot, and you should have seen the people reading the packages. Like what's this one about? How do you work this thing? And it was crazy to me. So I was like, well, I mean, maybe I could teach people how to use a tape measure, I guess, or how to read it. People didn't know how to lock it in place. Just something simple as that, for example.
There's like two things that you could do with the tape.
I know.
It's like one pull down, two press a button, and three clip it on your belt, I guess.
I'm sitting there scratching my head. I'm like, man, this is going to be the easiest damn job ever if we're doing a 3 hour class on tape measures. It was a super tough job, I will say that, but super tough training. But so I was like, when I was starting my channel, I was gonna make more stuff like that, or DIY home repairs and stuff like that. I would never have imagined it being this. I tried it like once or twice, and the videos took off. And I was like, all right, well, let's, like you said earlier, let's keep this going. And it's kind of just turning that, and I've really started to enjoy it. And all the things I make, 90% of them go in my house. So it is really fun.
There's something that, like, I don't know how to teach people this. It's the more, okay, this is going to sound really rudimentary when I say it, but the more you do something, the better you get at it, right?
Right.
But what I always had a problem with when I wasn't building a lot of things was I would go out and I'm like, well, you know, I have a miter saw and I can measure the wood and I can cut these two pieces of wood, and then I go in the house and they're not the same lengths. They're off by a little. And I'm like, because what a lot of that comes from is, well, I guess where I noticed a lot of was when I was doing trim, like I was doing crown molding or whatever. And it's like what you don't think about when you don't do it very often is that if you're cutting the board on one side, if you're making your cut from one side of the saw and then you switch over to the other side of the saw, you got kerf in there, right? Right. And that was just something that like, I'm cutting on the line. Like, why is it, you know, why if I cut this side and this side, they're the wrong deals? And it's that repetitive, you do this over and over and over. And once you start realizing where like the curve of your blade lands, you know, or which side it lands on,
right, then
you can make those, you know, those repeated cuts. It's just such a hard thing to, when people are like, well, I don't understand why I always mess this up. I'm like, I mean, part of it is like, I mean, you know, you could be an idiot, but more than likely you haven't done it enough, or you haven't done it enough at one time. You know, like you haven't done this over and over and over to where you understand exactly how you, like, you're following all the processes exactly the same every time.
Right.
That makes sense. And I'm like, I don't even know how you make a video on that. Do it more. You know, keep doing it.
Right. I will say there's a few things I'm like, I'm kind of don't know what I'm doing here, but I got to teach people at the same time. So I kind of, a lot of things I do off camera, you know, I'll try to like a little test piece first sometimes, or I'll make a really damn good game plan off camera to where I can, you know, fake it till you make it, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
I mean, I got enough common sense. I know how to build stuff and I know how to use tools. So,
yeah, I mean, that's the reason, like, one of the things that people always commented on me, which is so weird because I feel like so many other YouTubers do this too, but they're always like, I love the fact that you show your mistakes.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's the fact that I show my mistakes as much as I make a bigger deal about it. You know, like I feel like I feel like I shouldn't say everybody. I mean, there's definitely some YouTubers out, or I mean, some makers, I guess, DIY guys out there that you know kind of cut those out on purpose. But like, I see a lot of big guys, you know, big YouTubers show their mistakes, but a lot of times they're just kind of like, oh yeah, well I messed this up and I fixed it, and I'm like, I messed this up and I don't know what to do.
Right. I made a mistake today. Actually, I'm excited about this video Saturday. So I did a challenge against the Fish Over Chicks guys last week, and I'm turning that into a little mini series because we're doing a big entranceway for my house. So I'm really excited about this little. I'm on part 2 right now, probably 3 videos. But today, it's $85 a sheet of plywood. I've got everything I need cut. I needed something to be 60 inches, and I cut it 58.5 because I was counteracting for 2 extra pieces of plywood on the side that I didn't need to count for, and I cut it too short. and that was the last strip of plywood that was 5 foot long. And I'm like, oh, dude. And I kind of freaked out in front of the camera, and then I was like, I've got to keep this in here because I've had those people say, you know, I'm glad you showed your mistakes, and I'm like, this is an expensive one for sure.
Yeah, man. Like, see, and I mess up plywood all the time because I don't really work with plywood all that much, and so I tell you what, I tell you what saved me more than once, and I'm really kind of mad I didn't buy it earlier. I didn't believe the hype. Is track saw. Man,
yeah.
I do not mess up plywood nearly as much, mainly because I'm not trying to load it onto a job site, you know, table saw by myself, like a 4x8 sheet. Like I can I put it up there and put the thing on there and run it. But I don't know, man. I've gotten much better at plywood since I got a track saw.
I'm really good with a skill saw. So that didn't bother me as much, but luckily for this mistake, I had some 1x left over. Like I had literally 2 pieces of 1x left over that were just long enough. I think I cut like 2-3 inches off of them to make it work. And it's a shoe rack with a bench on top, so the 2 strips I needed are going to be covered by the bench top. So it didn't really matter what they look like. So thank God it worked. Because I was sitting there like, oh shit! If I had to go buy another $85 piece of plywood for a 4-inch by 5-foot piece, I'm going to be a little upset.
Right. My son just walked in to let me know that we need to cut it. Where can everybody find you, Jamie? Is it you're strictly on YouTube right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do have a Facebook page, but strictly, for the content, strictly on YouTube.
Okay. So, guys, go check out Jamie here down at the bottom. I spelled that right? Okay. And thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate the BS time.
Absolutely appreciate you having me on. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Have a good time.
Anytime, brother. Yeah, man, and let me know how like the mom port works out for you.
I'll definitely keep in touch.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out, and until next time, get to work.